Good morning. Good to be here with you again. This beautiful Thursday morning, and it's an exciting Thursday because whether we like it or not, the month of March is once again running quite fast to a halt. 18th of March is the day, and of course, you expect that as the month continues to run like this, we must be counting results. We must be counting what we have been able to achieve in the last couple of days. So, peradventure, you haven't done much this month. You still have about 11 days thereabout. We had another 10 and 2, 3, so about 13 days to go in the month of March. If you have that much, then there is still a lot that you can achieve. My name is Tomi Siojuan. This is the Bumper Breakfast. This is what we do Mondays to Friday on the Bumper Breakfast, and we just look at stories that made the front page of the papers. I'll take a look at the front page story of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, and it begins with the federal government to rehabilitate Port Harcourt refinery, $1.5 billion. I will not rejoice yet. We have had enough promises. That's coming from Governor Nyesom Wike. Sanwo-Olu announces Leadership Academy to immortalize Jakande. That's right there. That was at the Day of Tribute in celebration of the life and times of Alhaji Lateef Jakande at the Mobolaji Johnson area of Oniko Stadium yesterday. Police nabbed 5 more suspected killers of Fashoranti's daughter. ICPC arrested JAM Registrar Jeride over alleged 900 million naira fraud. Drama in Senate as the Northern lawmakers frustrated bill for Armed Forces Service Commission. 2023 PDP committee wants presidential tickets based on merit. Summit report on the 2019 elections. 10 injured, 15 arrested as rival courts clash in Lagos. Wakili, 3 OPC members charged to court for arson, murder, and you have remanded in prison. Insecurity, Gani Adams lead Southwest Security Stakeholders Group. Affair on Thursday, national minimum wage impracticable and unfair. Ladoja asked his only nominee in Makinde's cabinet to join PDP. Violence in Ilorin over hijab, many injured. Government reopens affected 10 schools. Labour to federal government is not true. We subsidize electricity tariff with 50 billion naira monthly. I move quickly to the Guardian newspaper this morning. After $25 billion on maintenance, FEC approves new $1.5 billion of Port Harcourt refinery. Federal government moves to rehabilitate refinery. One of APC's empty promises, says Wike. Stakeholders cake insists refinery may remain drain pipe. 3 refineries process 0 crude but cost nation 10 billion in June 2020. Reps to probe alleged neglect, diversion of crude oil at the Warri refinery. South and Middle Belt leaders give terms for continued stay in Nigeria. And you have the editorial story, federalism is the answer after all. That's about the 21st article of the Guardian newspaper. Opera Senate dumps the Armed Forces Bill. PDP panel wants contest for presidency thrown open. 5 injured as missionary schools in Kwara resist hijab. Dealers blame customs extortion for rising costs of Tokumbo cars. All right, the Punch newspaper this morning, where I move next, we have experts carpet federal government over 568.5 billion naira vote to repair loss-making Port Harcourt refinery. Project wasteful, senseless, government beating dead horse, says economist. And you have Nupeng, union commend government, seek private sector participation. Hijab violence, can fingers Abdul Razak demands federal government intervention. And you have OPC members who arrested Wakili, charged with murder and arson. That's coming from Gani Adams. We found gold deposits along the way, along Abuja-Nasarawa highway. Ex-JAM registrar arrested for alleged 900 million pencil eraser fraud. Interesting stories. All right, we have this one saying hoodlums fight over Lagos market levy, unleash mayhem on residents. Police arrest 15 suspects and blame cultists. Politicians eyeing the 2023 engineering violent breakup. That's coming from Southern and Middle Belt leaders. All right, you have another one here. OPC members who arrested Wakili charged with murder and arson. That's coming from Kenny Adams. As the federal government of Southwest Elders farmers clashes case of terrorism, Yoruba leaders are talking. Shouting march in Senate, lawmakers suspend a bill to restructure the Nigerian army. Malabo scam, Nigeria loses 1 billion naira claim. Italian court acquits Eni and Shell. PDP election review panel proposes Northeast Southeast for 2023 presidency. And Nigeria's daily oil production rises to 1.42 million barrels. All right, so we have more stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning. Banner headline of the Nation: Oyo Yobe, others yet to roll out COVID-19 vaccination. Makinde, Wike, Ayade, Diri, Malabuni have not taken the vaccine. Elders unsure how to get the jobs. All right, we have Wike Malaifa not excited about a 1.5 billion naira Port Harcourt refinery rehabilitation. And of course, we have 2023 presidency. PDP panel dashes South zoning hope. More stories: alleged 900 million naira fraud at JAM registrar Jeride detained. Coalition of Yoruba groups form security outfit. We have 2 killed in bandit attack on envoys. The Emir's convoy, many injured as pro-anti-job clash rocks Ilorin. Lagos to complete blue red rail lines in Jakonde's honor. Those are stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning. Joining the conversation today, interesting, I particularly like the fact that Mr. Fatuke is here on a day when we want to talk about hijab crisis and also the refinery repairs at Port Harcourt. What exactly do we talk about Nigeria? But let's start with greeting you first. Mr. Fatuke, good morning. Good to be here with you on this beautiful morning. How has been your week?
Thank you very much, Tony Singh. Good morning, Nigerians and friends of Nigeria. Together we must lead our country. Yes, it's been a week of the good, the bad, the ugly. But we give glory to God Almighty that we are still on in the project Nigeria. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure, and unfortunately I have to begin the stories this morning with 2 major issues rocking what I call rocking the very fabrics of our society right now. Let me begin with the maintenance of the Port Harcourt refinery. Warri Refinery, disappearance of crude, one issue. Port Harcourt Refinery, we've had 25 billion to maintain it, but we're voting another $25 billion to be clear, and now we're voting another 1.5 billion dollars for the repairs of the Port Harcourt refinery. The FEC approved the sum yesterday, which comes to about 575 billion naira for immediate commencement of rehabilitation work on the largest refinery company in the country, the 32-year-old Port Harcourt refinery. Timothy Silva, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, said that the contract for the rehabilitation was awarded to an Italian firm to maintain and is expected to be executed in 3 phases, which would take a period of 28 months. The second and the third phase will be completed between 24 and another 44 months, respectively. So we're looking at about 6 years down the line. That's about 12 times 2, 24, 28. So by 2023, as it were, we're going to be talking about completing the first phase of that refinery repairs.
Yeah. Let me clearly say that as a practitioner who spent close to 30 years in that industry, and as somebody who has an in-depth knowledge about the working of that aspect of the value change in the oil and gas. I am awfully sorry, awfully sad, awfully disenchanted. I am not in government, but we have elected people into government believing that they will be ambassadors of everything that is good and fair for our nation. I am afraid to say I haven't seen, unless someone now comes to explain it to me much more clearly, I haven't seen the basis for this action that is now being taken. The Port Harcourt refinery, we have the Port Harcourt 1 and the Port Harcourt 2, constructed around about 1965. All that time, I am not aware. I am not aware that at any point in time, those assets, as we have them, have paid for the kind of investments we had in there. They've not paid for the investment, however, we've seen mass inefficiencies, mass pumping of money on a regular, what we call turn around maintenance of all these assets. They have never yielded the kind of investments we put in. And my common denominator of measuring anything is that if I am borrowing money, or if I'm taking money from scarce resources, or even if I have excess money, that in economic balance, you have a choice between competing ends. It must be that I am looking at my balance sheet and I'm seeing the kind of returns that we're having on it. These refineries have not made any returns to at the level that we expect, that we are happy. Because when you have a construction, whether it's a refinery or it's a building, whether it's a road, you begin to measure, even if it's for a social impact, that yes, this is going to ease business, or this is going to help, you know, the transportation and the logistics of ensuring fuel comes in there. And if every year you have a turnaround maintenance that is only turning around corruption over time, the children that are being born today may say, yes, you don't know what you are talking about, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the turnaround maintenance has not returned anything meaningful. Now, I started by saying I'm sad, and I mean that. I'm very, very sad that 6 years ago, General Muhammadu Buhari came on board. And one of the things he said is that Nigeria was corrupt. For Cameron, the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, said that Nigeria was fantastically corrupt, that he did not trust anything that might have happened. And one of the things he did, because for months he did not appoint ministers. He did something, and it's a historical fact. He will invite permanent secretaries in the various ministries, and will have a note, and he will be jotting down notes. And of course, people are saying, no, you can't do this, that means you are not prepared, and all that. I say, look, I want to take my time. Okay, let's see what taking your time
would mean, would require.
In between that time, I'm mentioning names. Mr. President himself, in a way that we thought we should help, because governance is they, no problem, and us. They cannot exist without us. We cannot exist without them, even if it's for 4 years. We thought to ourselves, and then I was working in one of easily the best, and I put it out there, oil companies that's operated both in the world and in Nigeria. It's called ExxonMobil. And then we put our thinking caps, and we collected what we had been collecting for close to about 30 years, right from the construction of that refinery, and we saw it in our before, eyes that they were being run down, just like Nigerian Airways was being run down, when Nigerian Shipping Line was being run down, anything that government thought was being run down, and we had a legacy to now then say, okay, we now have a mantra of change. I was part of the people that spent sleepless nights with my bosses and with the industry, but we lead it to now say this is an opportunity. With sleepless nights, I said, leaving the office at wee hours of the day, coming to the office on Saturdays, and we gave a blueprint. This is where we are coming from. This is where we are. These are the issues, including the regulation, including the fact that we've not had square pegs in round holes, including the fact that we have injected a lot of politics. Oh, by the time we finished
The
full
documentation.
color, the full color, we nodded to ourselves. But one of us made a statement. I said, before you begin to now sing hallelujah, it's still government. I said, well, it's going to be a governance with a change. And I remember very well the office of the Vice President, Professor Osinbajo, who we know his antecedents, who we saw the drive that was putting on. I said, look, I think good people are in there. We saw a President Buhari who had come, who had been a Minister of Petroleum at one point in time, assigned by Obasanjo to look into the issue of the refinery. So we have.
You had great expectation, basically.
That person mentioned that, and I sat back and I remembered that, wait a minute, the Port Harcourt refinery, what was the politics surrounding having the Kaduna refinery? Was Kaduna refinery a refinery that you can now say, you know, your economics 101, that if you want to set up an industry, there must be nearness to raw materials, there must be nearness, and you had to build pipes up there because it was the policy of government. They knew what they were doing, that they were going to start the equalization issues, so we'll be able to pump
the crude from there all the way. But does that make practical sense? When you have gold in the north,
so many, there are so many things that don't make practical sense. But in the sense of what we are looking at, you knew. Well-known economists at that time all made the point, and I remember Professor Ojetuje Aboyade of blessed memory, and so many others said, why do you want to do this? Oh yeah, well, we just want to, and we are going to do it by military fire. Okay. In economics, we talk about sunk cost. It is sunk. Can we find a way to now begin to make them work? And I can tell you, as a matter of historical fact, that back in the day, the Port Harcourt, the worry, government called us, called our attention, and said, we think you know what we are doing. Please, can you come and give us a paper? I said, oh, by all means, we are ready. When do you expect us to come? The idea was for us to go to the seats of where these were constructed. And a high official of government said, do you know what we are saying? They were asking us.
You're the professionals on the job.
I beg your pardon. I don't think you know what you are saying. You are asking that you come to us when we are supposed to be going to your headquarters in Fairfax or elsewhere. Oh, is that it? What is in Akpu, Sokoto, is being taken there? No, we cannot do this. We are not allowed to do so. If you are not prepared to do that, that's how that ended. Now, $1.5 billion.
After 20 had been spent on maintaining it.
I think money is going down the hole. I feel so sad because clearly it's only the discerning that will understand that, oh yeah, why are we not building a refinery? Why are we not building a refinery? That refinery that we want to pump $1.5 billion is sitting on the bed of oil. It's one of the reasons when Yar'Adua was about leaving and Obasanjo or advisedly said he was going to sell those refineries at that time. The politics of the labor came in and what's not. Dangote and a group of people wanted to come in, should have been allowed. Politics now took over. And people who are interested, the point is this, They are sitting on a bed of oil. What that means is that it's like, say you are sitting on...
So there is crude underneath that refinery?
No, it's not crude. It is black oil. It is oil that is dangerous to harmonious living, because part of the term that we are talking about should have been to clean up. You have a kitchen and you say, I want to refurbish my kitchen, and yet the window of the kitchen is open, the door of the kitchen is open, and the waste of the kitchen, you are not taking it to where it should be taken to. You keep on keeping them there. What are you asking for? You are asking for environmental
destruction.
Wahala. So anybody that wants to now then come will now say, hey, I can see, you can go and paint the whole thing. It looks, yeah, the machines you've been doing turnaround maintenance has been stolen blind, has been stripped. What people have been doing is that the turnaround maintenance, yeah, told me, say, I know you. Take the contract. You take the money.
And you don't do anything.
If you are nice enough, you go and bring refurbished materials, because our system is not programmed to do the normal procurement and the diligence. You bring it. In fact, we give you the money upfront because you are nice. There are quite a number of others who are not nice. They've taken this money, they've not brought anything, nothing has been accounted for. Now we now have 1.5 million. Why I am personally disappointed as a Nigerian and as a stakeholder and one who has been through this, I am seeing a situation where I know very much inside of me, I'm being taken to a medical doctor that is a quack. He has killed so many people. And yet I now have an issue. You are taking me to that same doctor. You will expect me to say hallelujah. I know you are taking me to that doctor because quite a number of things are going on the ground.
So you absolutely agree with Governor Nyesom Wike, who said in his own words that this is, he will not rejoice yet because he has had so many promises. Apparently, Governor Nyesom Wike has the expectation that the refinery should be fixed. But if I understand your summation this morning, you're saying that refinery is not in need of being fixed.
The truth is that a lot of money has been pumped
into that refinery.
In time. There is no doubt about that. Also, additional money has been pumped in the last 6 years.
Yes.
What I expected, Mr. President or Mr. Minister, to now look, now all this money that are pumped in, have you asked critically why we are not getting value for money? Are we putting and taking some people to account and booking them and say you have not done what you need to do? Now, it was the turn of PDP at one time. Governor Wike is making a statement, which is true, as an informed statement. The same PDP government, in all the years that they were there, were doing exactly the same thing. Now, APC is now saying this is now our turn. Only God knows where this is going to end. What we have seen is lack of character and lack of will. And I would love to say, which is my final statement here, it's you, it's me, it's everybody listening out to me there. Because we have not taken the time to really understand the dynamics. We have not taken the time. Why are we buying fuel at 200? Why are we doing this? Why can't we fix our refineries? Why can't we do? The fundamental is the fact that the refineries have not been programmed and primed to replace the pricing system and the pricing mechanism, the policy of ensuring that the yam that you are buying at Kwara Namoda at 2 naira should be sold to me in Akwa Ibom, in Eket, at the same 2 naira. Is it possible?
It's not.
Okay, so because that is not possible, we need to unravel. We need to restructure. Look, the mind restructure, the polity restructure is also for us to now then begin to tell ourselves the truth. To now then say to ourselves, hey, I think we have really mismanaged this thing. This is cancerous. This is not going to help us. This is not just it. And why I'm saying you, me, and the viewers there is bitter for us to hear. They say, go and fix the referee. So when you say we'll go and fix the referee, we are now answering you. We are playing and doing an own goal against ourselves. We need competent people to really come out there and do the truth. The procurement aspect of it should be sacrosanct. I want to see how the procurement aspect went into giving that contract to that Italian company. Who was the original contractor?
Oh, they said that cannot be given to them. Anyway, let's move on from this particular
There's a reason why it cannot be given to them.
They said they are not in the business of rehabilitating refineries.
I can tell you, on one occasion, now you listen to me, on one occasion, you wanted something to be done, some things, and I'm saying that on national television, okay? Clearly, for you to do this, there are certain percentages that must come to me. Oh, sorry, you cannot do that. And because of that, they will be blacklisted.
And that's the end of it. All right, so we're talking next about this hijab crisis in Kwara State. I got a statement from the Baptist Mission Baptist Conference yesterday. If I take a look at the issues that occurred in Ilorin, Kwara State yesterday, it is something that will break a lot of parents' heart. And why did I say that? Because most definitely, the parents of the Christians and the Muslims that clashed at this location yesterday, I don't know what exactly they were what point exactly they were driving at, but it was a matter of going to protest, and then there was a counter protest. So yes, it was meant to simply be a crisis or a protest, a simple protest within the school. But yesterday, 5 persons were injured over the hijab in Kwara schools. That is the statement from the Nation newspaper this morning. But if you take a look at what is happening right in front of you, that was the fracas that ensued at Baptist Senior Secondary School. Now, the statement from Reverend Dr. Victor Dada, who is the president of Kwara Baptist Conference, did say that more than 20 persons, including 4 of their pastors, were wounded, with 3 hospitalized as at yesterday. Christians that were there yesterday at the First Baptist Church, Surulere, Ilorin, on a peaceful protest, a demonstration with drums and trumpets, but it came under a serious attack from fundamentalists who mobilized themselves and touts in large number to bring about. In fact, the touts overpowered the police. If you can look at the security man, you're seeing there, it is 1 police officer or 1 officer of the NCDC, about 2 of them, to as many as possible. So you can imagine exactly what ensued. Mr. Fatuke, how will the idea of wearing hijab degenerate into what you're looking at on your screen?
I'm very sure, Tobin Singh, you will say we are not seeing this for the first time.
Of course we're not.
We saw it in Oyo State. We saw it in Osun State. And then, of course, we saw it, at Nigerian Bar Association when, the issue now cropped up as regards wearing of hijab or not wearing of hijab. Nigeria is led at this time by people who are talking about wearing hijab or not wearing hijab. When students, young people, their counterparts in Ghana, in Rwanda, in Ethiopia, in Kenya, are being challenged to go by way of artificial intelligence, the next level, the 5G. Rather than we moving from being progressive, we are going backwards into fault lines. And why is that? Failure of leadership. I have always said that Nigeria is a grand conspiracy of politicians, the elites, and the religious class. And I can tell you for free, the religious class decides, for want of nothing to do. You know, we are 210, okay, by estimation, population is still exploding. We've not been able to count ourselves, but by the way. So, our hands has been like a devil's workshop. So what next will we be looking at?
We're Haido, basically.
If we are not kidnapping people for ransom, we are going after people who we have kidnapped and paying them pension.
No, we're going after people who kidnapped other people.
People who kidnap other people because security has not been on. And then, of course, the vast majority of so many other people, the raw materials are the students. And then somebody will not just crop up. I just want to be heard. Yes, all schools must wear hijab in a plural system. Now, the Baptist Conference. The Baptist Conference.
If I mention the names of the schools to you, you will be shocked. Cherubim and Seraphim Grammar School. You have Baptist, Bishop Smith Grammar School. You have St. Anthony College. You have Baptist Smith Grammar School. You have Baptist Second. And I'm just asking the question here. How exactly did we get to the point where we are discussing the issue of whether it is right to wear hijab to a mission school? I mean, as if I go to an Ansarudin, if I go to Ansarudin Grammar School, the uniform includes an hijab. And if my parents, as a Christian parent, decide to take me to that school, they should know that for the 6 years I'm going to be in that secondary school, I'm going to be wearing an hijab. And so they shouldn't complain because they took me to the school. That should be the answer.
I just told you that it's a conspiracy of confusion. People are just not happy.
Why do we keep murmuring on things that will bring about division?
We must not steer up part of the fault lines. These fault lines have always been there. But like you said, we willingly agreed that I am going to be a lawyer, and when I qualify as a lawyer, I must wear a wig. You knew that. Okay.
Before you went to apply to be a lawyer.
I'm going into an Islamic school because I think I saw a teacher there
that I like,
who I think will give me the best. I will not go there naked.
I'm going to wear the uniform.
Or I'm going to go there wearing something that is not in alignment with what they do.
Very true.
I am going to go to Cherubim and Seraphim, where our mode of worship is that I wear the veil and I wear the cap and all that, and I must be white. I'm not prescribed that that is what our students should be wearing, but at best, let them wear khaki or white. Look neat. And I have decided as a parent that that is where I'm going to go because I see quite a number of my friends are out there. And then suddenly, after 10, 15, 20 years, I now join the bandwagon of people. Yeah, it's all right. That's what we need to wear. It's a recipe for confusion. What has happened, therefore, Tomisi, and that's my words to it, is failure of leadership, not just at the federal now, not just at the state, not just at the local government, from the family. You know, the people that we have elected to go in there to make laws
on our behalf
and to be our governors, they came from
the family system,
from our deep belly. Tomisi, you know, I think I am not known, and a way out for me to be known. I'm on television with you. I will break all the rules of broadcasting, and I will stand up
and go away.
Oh, if I went away, is that not good enough? What if I just take your hand and then I start to squeeze it? I say, oh, please help me, and squeeze it. I will make the headlines, isn't it?
Definitely.
But at what cost? I think people are just...
They broke down the gate of that school.
I think people are just inching for the limelight, recognition, which is a backward integration. But one of the things they forgot, the more that this goes on, the more the hoodlums are waiting. We are now sending them out. People will not be able to obey basic rules and regulations. Discipline has gone down because we ourselves that are governors, that are local government, that are legislators, we are also not disciplined. And we cannot be preaching discipline to other people because they will point it at us. What exactly are you saying? Why did you do this? You think this was the right? You think this was not? And then everybody now then hides under rule of law. It's freedom. There can't be freedom without responsibility.
Let me also mention to you that after they vehemently tried to break down the gate and of course succeeded in one of the schools to break down the gate yesterday, they also went to vandalize churches. They actually threw fire at the church gate and vandalized the auditorium of the school, of the church. They went ahead to vandalize the Apostolic Church.
Yes.
A church that is not even is not an aid-granted school. It has nothing
That
to
takes
do
you
with
the real
what we're talking
reason
about.
why they started this problem. Is
In the
not
first place.
It's not the issue of hijab. It's the issue that, yes, we are going to tear the honestness. We are going to make people to be very, very, very angry. They are going to say, no, it's not going to be possible. That is not right. That is not right. And in now saying what is not right, they say, no, 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 that is right. And then they begin to take action that are diametrically different from the root of what they are saying. My point is simple. They knew what they were doing. They knew where they were going.
And they knew they needed
the
to
bottom
destroy
line
them.
is that we don't want to have Christian churches. We don't want to have Islamic
But I'm
centers.
still asking the question.
That is the thing.
I had a conversation yesterday with an Islamic leader, an Afa, who is a friend. Ustaz. He is a friend of mine, and I had to ask him, why would you decide to take your child to a mission school? Let's assume that is the only school closest to your environment. What will you do? Would you allow your child to go? I had to be very specific. I said, to a cherubim and seraphim school. And he said to me, it's a cherubim and seraphim secondary school? My child won't go there. He said, because let me tell you the truth. Every single person in my family, from my aunts to my big brothers and uncles who became Christians because they went to a Christian school. And because they went to a Christian school, they have to align with the faith.
To Christian teachings.
Christian teachings. They did this, the CRS all through school. They finished school. They did all the assembly, the praying, the vigil. They did everything they needed to do in that school just to pass out of the school. And by the time they left secondary school, they became Christians. By the time they were getting to their, at home, they were still doing the rites, the Muslim rites. But the moment they got into their normal life after the university level, they all became Christians.
The problem with that is...
So his own parents had that rule from that history that they weren't going to do. All the children went to schools, inclusive schools like the general government schools or the Islamic-owned schools. Ansarudin, Nasfat, Nawaruddin.
This again comes back to the fact that you cannot equate education with experience and knowledge.
Very true.
So it's one thing for you to be able to read the Bible from cover to cover, read the Quran from cover to cover, read the Ifa Oracle from cover to cover. If you don't have the character, if you don't have the vision, if you do not have the emotional intelligence to understand that the child that you are brought up today, that has gone to a Christian school,
so why would you then, as a fundamentalist,
listen,
send your child to such school?
And the child of a reverend,
yes,
will on his own one day come to a realization that I don't want to continue to be a Christian. That is not necessarily a failure on your part, and vice versa.
It is.
When you begin that indoctrination, it's not just on religion, it's also on the prejudice we have. I am Igbo. I can never go and marry an Hausa. I'm Yoruba. I can never go and marry an Igbo. When it is from that other race that you have fallen in love with that partner, and that is the person that is going to help your destiny. Now, what Ustaz has failed to realize is that the wrong feeding of indoctrination is one of the reasons why we have the Boko Haram and the ISWAP.
Very true. Very true.
What we need to do is in sana in corpore sano. Let's build up the man and let these children come out and be able to take a decision. Whether you are Christian, whether you are Muslim, what is the example they are finding with you? Like, I am a Christian. And one of the things that Christ admonished us in the book of Matthew is that let your light shine so brightly. People begin to now then ask. While back in school in ABU Zaria, people were asking me some very, very interesting questions. But are you a Christian? Of course I am a Christian. But you see me carry Bible because you say you are a Christian, but sometimes you behave like a Muslim. In what way? Because we see you being exemplary. We see you being exemplary. And
Exemplary
from that
behavior.
exemplary character, is that there must be something about this Christianity. It's not by force. It's not by saying that you must now use the sword and what have you.
But
I think we are taking the wrong steps. Now, even if you decide that you are going to take the wrong steps, that is where we now have law and order.
But
The
this
people
case
that
is
have
even in
gone-
the Supreme Court.
The people who have gone
There
to,
is a stay of execution
the people who have
obtained.
gone to do those unwholesome things, are they going to be brought to book? That is the question. If you are not going to be brought to book, what you are not going to find, I pray I am wrong, like the sage Obafemi Awolowo will say, will tell you the truth.
Unless I pray I'm wrong.
I'm saying, because it is horrible. More of what has happened is going to happen in some other states because of failure of character, failure of capacity,
I mean,
failure of competence,
you know,
failure of you before me. The Islamic religion does not preach that, because one of the anomy you are going to find is that that's Christian school that you call C&S. They say, oh, is that what you want to do? You know, it was going to happen in Oshu. So let my own children too start to come in white veil, and then everything becomes bedlam.
Exactly.
Rather
my
than have a
question.
discipline for children to be focused and be looking for the next level, we are breeding a group of children who are talking about hijab, who are talking about veil, school uniform. We are not talking about the security of these children. We are not talking with them on COVID-19. We are not harnessing the creative energies that is in these children because they have it. Rather, as parents, as governments, my child must wear hijab. It is my right that he must wear hijab. It's my right that he must do certain things. It's my right that he must wear hijab. And in wearing that hijab, and people now then say, wait, are you sure we can search? Because the person that's wearing hijab or the person that's wearing the Christian veil might have something to hide. Is the reason why the originators of the schooling experience say it is both the academic, non-academic, and your capacity to be able to. We are not going to be sending police to be checking them. So you wear your shorts or you wear your trousers. No.
Very soon we're going to have people saying that,
and then you wear your shirts.
They don't
that
wear
is,
short
that is
knickers.
If
They cannot wear
anything
knickers.
bulgy is in there, we can easily see. Can you see how we are doing our integration backwards in terms of human development? Can you see
can
how
we practice
they
our
are,
religion in our
can you see
private
how they are
corners?
dividing us?
No, but can we practice our religion in our private corners?
Bottom line is simple. To me, after restructuring our mind, but that's first before me, we must totally accept the fact that there are certain cultures that we have embraced, and we are free to practice those cultures in whatever area we want. So we must restructure Nigeria. Again, it goes without saying, whether we like it or we don't like it, whether more blood is going to shed or not, that is one of the pathways. And after restructuring, let me quickly add, after restructuring, the problem does not go, because whatever it is, within our little restructured space, if we don't still have a restructured mind to do the right thing, we just go bananas again. So it's an overall situation.
I think to solve this issue, to create solutions for this particular state, if you want to begin to legislate on uniform wearing, wouldn't it make better sense to have more mission schools for both religions? And these schools were started by missionary. We had Muslims in my school when I was growing up, and there was no. As a matter of fact, my best friend in secondary school, my second best friend was Rashida. So yesterday I was just thinking about Rashida now, and I was like, Rashida's father was an Afar, was an Alaji. His house was quite close to the school. I remember the days when there was crisis in that town. He accommodated over 100 students in his house. We ran into his apartment to just feel safe. There was nothing like, even in the secondary school, everybody wears a beret. Everybody has to wear a beret. So if the school uniform is a beret and your uniform, wear your school uniform. There is no attachment else that should come into it. Why should we have extra attachment when we leave our houses? we become a student. When we come back to our homes, we go back to our religion. That should be the way it is. And now we're sending imams and Islamic religious teachers to the schools that are owned by mission, and we have never employed a single Christian religious worker. And these are grant-aided schools, which means they are being run by the church. They have proprietors and not principals appointed by government. They are run by the churches, and the government gives them grants to run. They don't actually pay for everything. So they are not completely public schools.
So
they are mission schools.
From the example of Rashida that you mentioned, I'm sure, if you had time, you say, during the Islamic...
I'm just surprised, honestly.
Islamic celebrations, to go to Rashida's place.
Yes, she even brings meat. Her father knows that he has to kill 2 types of ram.
They don't force you to wear hijab to come and...
No. I've never worn an hijab into the house before.
During the Christian celebrations, she comes back to you, isn't it?
Yes.
The way things are going is such that, is now the hijab that we are talking about. They're not saying, okay, yes, I'm a bona fide person that has been coming to this school, and the name of this school is Baptist High School. Sorry, we must change the name of this school.
Let's go to the next conversation, Mr. Fatuke. Because
that is the ridiculous
if we're not careful, we keep our mind
where
on the
leadership failure keeps going on. Where leadership failure is such that with technology, we have Boko Haram that are carrying AK-47 and they're carrying rocket launchers. That is developed from
this kind of issues.
That is developed from the knowledge of Western education, and yet they come back and say whether
don't get educated.
Western education is sin.
Is sin.
Again, clearly.
No. But the gun itself that they used was developed with education from the Western world.
That's what I'm saying. So, but I'm saying that Western education that brought that gun that they are using
to propagate
to kill people. Is sin.
The education that gave them the tools is sin.
The indoctrination that has been put that will make
a fellow man look at
a fellow human and say, because I don't like what you are doing, and he hacks that person down. Aborode was hacked down because he said, people have come to occupy my farmland. Oh, okay, I'm not going to take the law into my hand. I'm going to go report. In the process of wanting to go and report, on his way, he was hacked down, which means there's no trust in the capacity. Again, in all of this leadership, the indoctrination that is starting from what we are talking about now.
From that small crisis we're looking at, the keg of gunpowder.
And government that is supposed to now be the father and mother of all is sitting down akimbo.
I said, please, just allow everybody to just have their way. It doesn't.
Forgetting that the more you ride at the back of the tiger, you are going to end up in the belly of the tiger.
We must actually celebrate Governor Boyega Oyetola of Osun State, because this was one crisis that was started by his predecessor, but he corrected this crisis. Some of the issues that people were unhappy with in Osun State, he did resolved some of these thorny issues. Rather than focusing on the very things that divide us as a people, we should be celebrating our oneness. We should actually be pushing issues forward that will make us come together as a people and unite us more. But our eyes seem to be turned in the other direction, and it's not good for us.
Oyetola has done the right thing. Thank you. We have the Governors Forum where they do peer review.
No,
so
they don't.
There's supposed to be a peer review. Those governors know that it was a problem that was solved this way, and yet they are now moving
in that direction,
straight into the direction of the
I just wonder where this is coming from. All right, so let's our last issue to discuss this morning is simply JAMB. The ex-registrar of JAMB, the immediate past registrar of JAMB, Professor Dibu Ojerinde, has allegedly been he's been detained by the ICPC for allegedly misappropriating 900 million naira. Ojerinde was arrested on the 15th of March 2021 in Abuja by operatives of the ICPC, allegedly committed multiple cases of fraud while heading JAMB and NECO, the National Examination Council. The offences were perpetrated between 1999 and 2007, as well as 2008 and 2016. Contracts worth about 450 million naira beyond his approval threshold were awarded, and some of the contractors could not be traced. All right, This issue, we had a video yesterday in the news.
Alleged.
Yes, alleged, yes, allegedly.
It has to be proven.
Yes, but you see, there is a particular video.
Which at the end of the day, we just find that and then the wrong person is
is put forward.
You know.
But you see, one of the reasons we came up with this particular topic while we're talking about Professor Jerinde, a particular young man yesterday, two young men were at the meeting with the Professor Ishaq Oloyede just yesterday, and they were talking about fraud, actually admission fraud and all of that in JAMB, and that's why we came up with this. So while we're putting aside Jerinde's matter, this one issue is one that happened just yesterday. Let's listen to some of these two young men and the way they came about it. One has been collecting money from a lot of people for a while, and the other said he was introduced. But there was just that very disgraceful exchange that occurred over there yesterday, and I'd just like us to take a listen, and then we're back here to discuss it briefly.
I want to reiterate that the word fraudulent I would not be able to explain, but I know that it was act of I didn't have a contact with the parents that was involved. That is all. I don't know the parents that are involved or whatever. It's just a colleague, academic colleague that just contacted me.
Mr. Andy know who he is. I've never known Mr. Andy. I got to know Mr. Andy through somebody. I told you, sir, I know Mr. Andy through Yenusa, right? I think he works in cooperative. Let him mention who and who has he been dealing with.
You tell me.
He knows who he has been dealing with, sir. If you have been tracking him to following up what he has been doing, you know those people he has been doing what this is with.
The admission exercise into tertiary institutions have been automated. Therefore, anybody working in JAMB or anybody who has good calculation, who knows what admission process is, can predict who can be admitted because it has been automated. What is happening now is that people know those that will be admitted because they know that by the automation, this person could, and they now go to be extorting the parents of those that are already slated for admission. We need to let the public know that there is no halfway to admission. Nobody should bribe or give anybody to any amount to anybody, whether they are JAMB staff or they are not JAMB staff. And anybody who solicits money from any parent, the parent should inform the board.
Yes, we're back. It's still the bumper breakfast, and that was Professor Ishaq Oloyede from JAMB, just talking about extortion. We keep talking about our fight against corruption, and we say the civil service, the public service, seems to be the ones that are pushing it. As a matter of fact, most complicit in this matter.
You know, sometimes that is part of the limits of technology. Technology is the way. But people run technology, and there could be collusion.
But wouldn't that make people jobless when you...
If technology says this is the mode of payment, and the person that's supposed to be pressing the button for the mode of payment goes out there, connives, and say, you know what? I know what the outcome is going to be. Just give me some money. If you give me some money, I will program a couple of things in there. I want to rest a point. Professor Ishaq Oloyede easily one of the best performing that I know JAMB has. Also know that the technology that they have must be tested, must be hacked, you must do mystery shopping, you must pretend that, you know, go get faceless people to now then see, can they penetrate? You do it in security circles. Oh, we are fortified. I have a gate man. I have this and get that. Now go and do a mystery person that is going to try and penetrate where the cloth impersonates as the chief executive of the place and stuff like that. I'm the chief executive, but you don't look like it. I'm chief executive. Okay. The next line is, where is your bag? No, I'm not having my bag. I must end a matter. Otherwise, you are going to lose your job. that security officer must stand his course and say, this is the laid down rule, this is the laid down procedure. If you don't follow it, sorry, I'm not going to allow. You know, there will be a lot of disruption. It is that little gate man that has done that, that should move fast in that organization, should be encouraged to move in that organization, and not the other way around. You now find people and say, look, I'm the one that employed you, I'm the one that brought you in there. You have not done your father, grandfather, son linkage. You have not really tested the system. We have the same with the touts at the airports. Oh, you run late. Don't forget, you run late. You run late because there was a lot of traffic. The problem starts with you. If there are going to be a lot of traffic, then you start early. So that if you know you are going to meet up, you see, it's a discipline thing that we must have gateways to now look at it. It therefore means, and I hope Nigerians are listening, this is a serious matter, that if the procedure is that before you can get a rocket launcher, as we are having, there are certain things that should need to be taken care of, and immigration have not done their own, this other person has not done their own, and the thing has come, and the rocket launchers, somebody is supposed to be signing that all that is now failed. It therefore means we are all, any part of Nigeria can just be, I don't want to use the word, and that would be a great shame. Government will not then come and say, we are not aware. We didn't know that was happening. Where you don't have the presence of mind to continually test. Part of the test, for instance, will be, I am in charge. I know, they know my wife. Suddenly they see my wife coming, oh, I must go and see your guy and stuff like that. Madam, yes, please, politely. We cannot allow you to go. We must tell Oga and
follow the procedure.
And then I will tell Oga, I said, allow her to come in. Sorry, sir. That will be breaching the protocol. You know how enraged that Oga will be? But that is the kind of Oga. That's where leadership comes into this picture. Wait a minute, I'm enraged. But wait a minute. It therefore means if I'm going to be killed in a way, that will have been the guy, that will have been my savior, not the big cars and the bulletproofs that I have around me. There's a lot of lesson to learn in there. Technology has its limitation to the extent that we must test it, we must continually make it work. The JAM portal must be properly oiled and work for people. It should not be such that they go there and they will press a button and then the thing will not come in again. Once that efficiency comes in, nobody has that right. Unless if you choose
to extort parents.
Unless if you choose to be foolish, to now aid and abet the wrong procedure in wanting to get.
I mean, it's so absurd. But we need to say thank you to you, Mr. Vantika, for being here with us this morning. We really do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Coming up next on the Bumper Breakfast is our dearest Kenny Adiaga giving us the business report for this morning. Kenny will be talking to us about the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and of course, we have great expectations that Kenny would be giving us some hopeful news. I've been looking for good news all around me this morning, apart from the message that came from the refinery repairs, $1.5 billion. As a matter of fact, let's see if the Nigerian Stock Exchange is going to give us some good news. Kenny, good morning. All right, let me wait a bit for Kenny to reach out again to us. But while we're at it, community report also comes up next on the Bumper Breakfast, and today